Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. Got the Bad New Yorker backstage. Going to talk the NBA Finals with him. Also, got Myles Garrett. I want to talk about that, dig into that. Myles Garrett traded to the Rams. Was this a little overkill, if you ask me? The Rams are already favored to win the Super Bowl. I got a theory behind it. Nobody's really talking about as well. A.J. Brown, as expected, traded to the New England Patriots. Listen, folks, I didn't realize I got a little bit behind, so we'll skip our break if the Mad New Yorker is ready to come about. And we'll go ahead and bring him in on the program. Mad New Yorker will have a round of Also, before I want to get started here, I want to thank also give a shout out to Grace Good. I did a pickup for Grace, Brentwood, Tennessee area to the airport. She will be doing the halftime show for the finals tonight. She does gymnastics. She's the person that does all those flips and stuff at the halftime show. And thank you for the tip. I greatly appreciate that, Grace. I love to have you on the show, but I know you got 2 million followers. You might be too big time to come on the show. But I do want to thank you for that tip. And shout out to Grace Good, who's going to be doing the theatrics for the halftime and tonight's big game, game 1 of the NBA Finals. Okay, and thank all of the other Uber riders, especially the ones who tip. If I get your baggage out, you're supposed to tip. Okay, geez. All right, Carlos. I did want to get started. Let's take a quick, brief take here. Game 7. Said that Spurs will win. Spurs did win in Game 7.
Both of us called it.
Both of us called. You said Spurs the other night. I said pre before the series started, I thought Spurs would win at Game 7. I was a little iffy. I know Spurs had some injuries, but so did OKC. They had 2 injuries here. They beat up on each other. What's your thoughts on that? Game 7, and I got a follow up, but I'll get your thoughts on that one real quick.
Yeah, Wemby took a few quarters to get warmed up. He was in the game though. He was focused, didn't make too many mistakes, and I think because he didn't make too many mistakes, even though he wasn't big on scoring, his presence, him passing the ball, moving the ball around, bringing in some defenders towards him, opened up the game for for his team to go in and make runs and big ups to Champagne. Is that his name?
What's the name?
Campagna.
Campagna. Yeah, his last name looks like Champagne. That guy's come out of nowhere. They've got some unsung heroes for the Spurs, right?
Listen, if anybody could get hot,
and what's the other guy's name? Cassell. I'm sorry, Cassell and Champagne Campagna. Very unsung heroes in this particular series.
Yeah, and then they good putting up points where Wemby wasn't actively getting those points that he usually gets in the first 2 quarters, but he came through towards the middle of the game and just good job for the Spurs to handle a team like Oklahoma. I feel like, and I said this before, I feel like SGA could have done a better job as far as carrying the team and make he don't have to score all the points, but him being on the court should have made everybody better, and that's what your MVP does. And I feel like this year, I know they didn't make it past the playoffs, but like when Jokic, a player like Jokic who was an MVP, when he's not on the court, that team doesn't win, and it wasn't like that for SGA. So I feel like maybe Wemby got slighted. He did get All Defensive Player of the Year, but the way it's looking now, he's getting his swag back and he's getting his payback by getting into this championship run.
Yeah. I looked at Chet Holmgren. I mean, I've liked Chet Holmgren over the years. He's been in the league 4 years. He's only played 3. Mm-hmm. He was injured his first year. This guy looks like he weighs about 90 pounds soaking wet. He's 7'1". He was a virtual no-show. I mean, they've got to get more out of him. There's been rumors of him possibly being traded for Giannis. Oklahoma City reports are they're not going to do that. I don't think they should. But I do think that he needs to put some weight on in the offseason. If they traded him for, say, and some picks to move up in the draft, I would be okay with that. He was a big reason why they did not win this particular game. Oh, SGA, I thought did as much as he could. This guy's a guard, man. You're going against a phenom, a 7'5" phenom, and you got two centers, and you had home court advantage. You won the pivotal game 5. The Spurs, playing devil's advocate, they only had about an 18% chance of winning because they lost game 5, the pivotal game 5. The winner of game 5 usually wins almost 80% of the time. What are your thoughts about the Chet Holmgren situation and the lack of play there and offensive production from him in game 7?
Yeah, I think the production comes because of the fact that they're putting him in as a center to try to match up with Wemby, even though both of those guys shouldn't play center at all. And he's not that kind of player. And even if you go back, when they played together in the international under 21 NBA championship, the USA won that.
There.
They won that championship against France. Wemby was on that team, and it was Wemby is he's more centered logic. He's more of a basketball player minded anyway, so he can play the inside and out. Chet is pretty much like a small forward, power forward. Give him the ball, and if he has a lane, he'll take it, but he'll look for a pass before he'll go for a dunk. And you got a big guy like that who doesn't think central logic and thinks more like a wing player, power forward and a small forward, then those things are going to happen. Should he change his mindset? Should he change his game? Should he gain weight? All those aren't going to help him if he don't get his mind and his game right. If he needs to tell people and his coaches be like, listen, I ain't going to I don't want to play in the center. Like I'll be the big guy, but I don't want to be the big guy in the middle. So, and the newer guys now, they don't like it because they get beat up, they get hit, they get pushed. See the situation that happened between Wemby and the other players during the playoffs, so I think Chet is a good player. I think he can pick up his game. I think this championship was a rude awakening for him. Yeah. And it's also a rude awakening for somebody who's looking to trade up for him if they think that he's a piece. He can be a piece on your team. You just can't make him the dominant center. So,
would you go after, say, a Michigan's Ade Mara? He is the 7'3" center there. They've got 2 picks. I want to say one of them is the 12th pick. Would you make a run at him, or would you package these 2 picks together and get a better score? I don't feel like this is a little bit opposite of what I know. A lot of what I'm hearing from the other national media out there. I don't really feel like the Thunder are that far off. Okay, I know the Spurs are ascending. They're very young. They're ascending forward, but I don't feel like they're that far off. I feel like they just need to hit the weight room, and we have a potential Celtics 80s versus Pistons, or a possibly, if you want to go even maybe Celtics Lakers type of rivalry where they just had the better edge this year. But I was really surprised at how well Thunder played in this playoffs versus the Spurs, considering how they played them in the regular season. What's your take about doing any major moves? Should they go after Giannis? I'm asking you that, the Thunder. Should they make any major moves on this roster?
What the Oklahoma has right now is to the benefit is that they're going to be drafting every year, no matter what, for the next 5 years plus, right? They're lock and loaded with draft picks.
Yeah,
they need to just keep staying young, right, and just make sideways moves, and the moves that they make, such as like maybe getting a center, even if it's not the Michigan center, but getting a true center, and then because what you want to do is you want to balance off what you have with Chet. I wouldn't get rid of him, to be honest with you, but you balance that off, or you replace him, but you still need to have depth in that area, because we're seeing a swing in the game where a lot of guys are getting big men. I wouldn't go for Giannis because he's he's already peaking, right?
32 years old and
Yeah,
starting to get injured.
yeah, and all you need is for him to go. You pay so much money, and he's going to miss a quarter of your season if something happens to him or whatever. So, but I would just stay young. I would keep Chet. You know, you don't gain too much by moving him. I wouldn't go older.
Would you move Hartenstein? He could be a cap casualty. Would you move Hartenstein?
Well, you see what benefit he brings you for depth. I've seen him on the Knicks. I was sad to see him go from the Knicks. I think Hartenstein is somebody that should get paid a little bit more and also should play a little bit more instead of just piling the minutes to Chet. You know, you give Hartenstein some more minutes, and he can get you anywhere from 10 to 15 points if you put him in the lineup a little bit more. So he's not someone. He can be an attribute to your bench, but he's not someone that you should just think, oh yeah, you know, don't sign him because the contract's coming up. Because there's not that many guys the age that he is, and that are going to have that tough center mentality, you know. So,
yeah, interesting stuff there. I'm like you. I don't think that. I think we just got a very good rivalry on our hands. I don't think OKC's done. I think they're well run, and possibly I'm okay. And Sam Presti, I trust whether he trades up, whether he just takes those picks, but I would not go after Giannis. I said that on Monday's program. Go ahead.
Question for you: do you believe in Oklahoma City's coach and coaching staff?
You can make the argument they were somewhat out coached. Here's the thing: I don't know necessarily out coach. I don't know how good San Antonio's coach is. I just got a feeling San Antonio's just really well put together by R.C. Buford and that group. I will say this: there was not enough ball movement there. You can make that point that they need more cuts. They need more set plays. There's a lot of dribbling by SGA there. A lot of what the problems that your Knicks had before the adjustment was made this year in the playoffs with Mike Brown, making kind of putting Karl Anthony Towns in the Draymond Green type of role and make him someone going to call him like a point center, put him at the top of the key there. They do need to make some adjustments. You can't out athleticize it and out depth people like you have before in the past. You have a juggernaut on your hand with the San Antonio Spurs. So the coach, very young, needs to make some adjustments there. Kind of like the coach, like I said, even though he has won a championship, both have won a championship for the Boston Celtics with their addiction to the three ball. You know,
yeah.
I mean,
I agree with you. I feel like they made a good adjustment by putting Hartenstein and Chet in the lineup against San Antonio.
Yeah,
I feel that they missed the time frames that they were putting Hartenstein in, though. Like they could have left him in and let Chet moved him in slowly in the end of the third quarter and then the beginning of the fourth quarter. Like, so, you know, I feel like that whole deal, as much as they that was a good adjustment, they missed the opportunity to get those defensive rebounds and have him be more aggressive and looking to go attack the basket and get foul shots. So, you know, you want to stir the pot up. I'd change the coaching before I'd go and start changing so many players in and out. To be honest, you got a good young team. They mesh together, even with the players that they had come in because of injuries. I'm not sure if Williamson, if he wasn't injured, if the game would have changed much with him in. But that would just been a one added player to give you depth.
Yeah, they had some depth. That depth was eaten into. I do think they're technically probably the deeper team than OKC. Then I think OKC's the deeper team technically, but I do think San Antonio has a better starting five, if that makes any sense. Although San Antonio's got some players on the bench as well that's playing well. It's interesting to see that. I don't know about like changing a coach. I think that the coach needs to look at the film and make some changes within his offense. And if he doesn't do that, and they get beat again next year by the Spurs, then maybe you shouldn't change the coach. That is a very attractive job with with the OKC Thunder. Still pretty young. I mean, SGA's like 27, 28 himself. So, and there's some like younger players. Holmgren's like 24. He's a pretty young guy. We got 15 minutes towards tip off. We've got the Knicks. We've got OKC Thunder. I've said my prediction. How do you see this series playing out and why?
Man, as a New York fan in my heart, I'd like to see the Knicks win, like, a sweep, but I try to keep it real. I understand what's going on. I see the game a little differently. I have different opinions that people kind of dislike, but I think that this series is going to go 4-2, and I think San Antonio is going to take it this year.
So you think the Spurs are going to win the championship 4-2, regardless of how the regular season played out? Yeah, just 7 games or none of that fatigue. You're not worried about any of that.
This is a business more than an entity, more than it is sport related. Why
do you see the Spurs winning?
I just think that there's so much push for Wemby to be the next, the new coming of the NBA superstars. Jalen Brunson is a great player. He's probably a top 5 player in the NBA right now, but they're not worried about the NBA is not worried about him for some reason. Even though all New York and everybody understands what he's done for this team. And man, businessman, we've seen championship.
You're saying the refs are going to make it where he wins? Is that what you're saying? The league is going to help out the Spurs?
The league has a history of helping themselves create superstars. And the way they do it most of the time is during championship games and playoff games. And there's already a lot of there's a lot of proof in the pudding about how that's happened with prior dealings, referees, players, and all that. And I think now with the deals that they have with DraftKings and FanDuel and everybody's got their hand in the mix, casinos lining up with the NBA, I think it's easier for them to manipulate these games and have it go the way that they want it financially than to see fans watch a team be competitive and have the guys go out there compete and actually see what a true game would be like. So unfortunately, that's me saying that. It's my opinion. And me as a man, if the Knicks come out because they play and they're the better team and they win a championship, great. I'm definitely going to be, sky high about it. But if they don't, I'm not going to be like, oh, this was bought. I'm going to be like, well, it happened. So, but I wouldn't feel bad, in the sense where it was like, at least they had the opportunity to be in this situation. So,
yeah, the Spurs are favored to win per se, folks. So
already,
and the Poly market, which is one of these odds market, which is not, it's not FanDuel. Poly market says that they're going to win in 5. I disagree with that.
Is that part of the Robinhood banks?
I'm not sure. Poly market, they do odds on everything, man. Presidential election, you name it. Poly market said, like I said, they Spurs in 5. I said Knicks in 6. You look at the matchup, you look at the experience. Knicks are 2-1 in the regular season. The only win was by 2 points with the Spurs. It's just a very good matchup. And you say, well, there's a regular season that's different to playoffs. Young teams like the Spurs, one of the youngest teams in the league, play hard in the regular season. They played very hard. They were trying to win these games. The Knicks do match up, but I would have picked OKC probably if they would have made it because this Thunder match up better against the Knicks. But this particular matchup, Mitchell Robertson's going to play with the pinky issue. Now, unless something happens and it re-aggravates and he can't play, then maybe my opinion's different. But right now, I just think you look at the fatigue there. You look at the Harper, he's banged up. Which, by the way, that's Roman Harper's son. What is his name?
Ron Harper from the Bulls.
Ron Harper's son for the Bulls. very good player. And of course, what's his name? De'Aaron Fox is banged up. So they really beat up on each other in that other series. And you look at the Knicks, hey, look, I mean, they played 4 less games. And it's just a better matchup for the Knicks. Now, it could go the other way. Spurs got home court advantage. They got the phenom talent there. But I can see this being a situation where they're emotionally drained. Maybe they win tonight because of the we saw how game 1 went in the Cleveland series where, they're sharper and the Knicks missed a bunch of threes early. I expect the Knicks to be down early in this game and then rally back late. So we'll see how it goes. But I like the Knicks in 6, man. I don't think that's being a fan or anything. I just call it balls and strikes. I'll call it the other way either way.
Right. No, I mean, like if you're looking at it, the way if you want to look at it, it's number 2 defense against number 3 defense in all NBA. Knicks are 2, San Antonio's 3. So that right there is a straight up matchup. You're looking at 2 of the star players averaging 20 plus points a game in Wemby and Brunson. And then looking at the benches all scoring 15 plus points a game. So the matchup is great. We should see a good finals. My theory is this: if for the Knicks to win, Brunson has to score an average of 25 plus points, and the Knicks bench have to match or beat it, right? Because there's it's going to be a mental game going on for the Knicks where the Spurs can put them on the spot and be like, okay, force Brunson to try to take over the game. And then the Knicks are going to be like, we need to stay a team. We need to move the ball. We need to get Cat involved. We need to get Brunson involved. So the Knicks could take themselves out of this game because of emotionally, mentally, that's happened when teams make adjustments. And so a team like the Spurs that are just fast and have one guy and they know who the one guy is, which is Wemby, everything goes through him. Doesn't matter whether it's, he passes or not. He's going to touch the ball at least, most of the time that they have possession of it. So whereas the Knicks, Brunson doesn't have to have possession of the ball. Other guys can move the ball. Cat can move the ball, and so what happens is the Spurs can pressure the Knicks to force Brunson to be the guy who has to distribute the ball, be the number 1 guy. But then what happens is that'll take out Cat emotionally, mentally. The guys like Hart are going to be trying to pick up the pieces. OG is going to be like trying to pick up. So it becomes a mishmash of who's going to do what. Where I feel like that's where San Antonio has more of an advantage in that retrospect.
Yeah, and hey, listen, it may work out that way, and it would be unfortunate for the Knicks to lose that, but hey, sometimes the other team is simply just better, and if that happens, then we'll have to discuss what the Knicks should do to get over that next hump.
Yeah, I'm on the train that the Knicks are the more emotional and mental team. I'm on the train. It's like if you're gonna be emotional about it, you just better attack the basket and be aggressive as much as possible. Because a team that's young like the Spurs they're gonna give a little bit, but they're not expecting aggressiveness from everyone. There's like maybe Wemby, but not all the players. And the one team that can be aggressive throughout their whole lineup, even their bench, are the guys from the Knicks team.
Yeah. And here's my thing. I understand that argument that the Knicks have had this easy road, blah, blah, blah. I get that. The Spurs went through the Timberwolves. They went through OKC, the champions. They went through a pretty scrappy Portland Trailblazer team. And the counter to that is if they had not played each other 3 times, my argument would have been maybe Spurs in 4 or 5. But the truth of the matter is they have played, and it is a game of matchups. It's individual matchups. So that's why I'm picking the Knicks. By the way, I had 4 Knicks fans here in Nashville. I should have got a picture of them. Kudos to those guys. It was a short run there. Thanks for the tip, guys. And good luck tonight. They're here in Nashville. Some guys from New York and put their Knicks jerseys on walking around. There's a big buzz about the New York Knicks and everything. Even this Grace Good, she thought the Spurs were the underdogs because the Knicks have so much hype around them. I said, no, technically the Spurs are favored to win this. They got a of a player they're,
Look, I'm not for nothing, but New Yorkers everywhere from all 5 boroughs to even people upstate, everybody, we're pulling for this team. This team is a hardworking, gritty team, reflection of what it's like to be in New York, grinding it out and getting every inch that you can to get that yard. And listen, if you would have told me otherwise, I wouldn't have thought that the Knicks have never been to a championship. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so the hype is real. The team is real. This is a team that hasn't been defeated in 30 days plus. So they haven't lost in 30 days plus. So they're deserving of the hype that they're getting. They're deserving of it. But now it's time to put up a shut up. And
this is our big challenge.
This is a challenge, man, and it's going to be a good series. So, buckle up. Yeah. It's about to get right.
I got it recorded, and, I can't wait to that first game in New York on Monday. Monday. Yeah, game 1's tonight. 2 is on Friday, and then 3 is on Monday. Normally, I hate it when they spread it out like that, but not in this particular case. Okay, man, Myles Garrett.
Woo!
To the Rams. So let me read this because I haven't not had opinion on this. Just kind of hear me out about this trade compensation, folks. Got a theory on it that's not being talked about. So the Rams got Myles Garrett, but the Browns get Jared Verse. Really good edge rusher, only 25 years old, 1 defensive rookie of the year. Jared Verse is. And he's got 2 more years left before his 5th-year option. This guy's, like I said, he's 25. We know what Garrett is. 23 sacks, defensive player of the year last year. Year before last, also defensive player of the year. First ballot Hall of Famer, 30 years old. And also the Browns get first-round pick next year, second-round pick in 28, and a third-round pick in 29. So you got 3 picks plus Jared Verse for Myles Garrett, a player who's probably, just saying, folks, he's probably peaked. Right. And now he's going to start going downhill. He will be 30 and or 30 or 31, I want to say. He'll be 30 in December. I'm talking about Myles Garrett. There's been some back and forth with Stan Kroenke, the owner of the Rams here, with the city of Inglewood. It's about a $400 million renovation issue there that he wants to be paid for. The SoFi Stadium will have the Super Bowl this year in SoFi Stadium. I think he's behind the scenes pushing. He pushed for this type of trade here, although it's not been, reported publicly, because they were already favored, folks, to win the Super Bowl. So now you're taking on a higher end player to do so. He's just trying to really make sure that they get to the Super Bowl and win it. That helps him in the PR move of this. So that's my theory behind that. I don't think this was necessary for the Rams per se, although it's a good trade. And everything I just said about the money and the age difference, it looks like maybe the Browns kind of won this trade on paper. But if the Rams win the Super Bowl in the next 2 years, which I think will be 2 more peak years, 30 and 31, players start to go downhill around 32 to play that position anyways, it'll be all forgotten. Okay, so it feels like a win-win if the Rams win the Super Bowl. But that's my theory. What do you think about maybe the owner was kind of pushing this because of that stadium issue?
That might be part of it too. I think about this too. It's like, do they believe in Jared Verse, and they didn't believe in him enough to keep him and to make him part of the future and the foundation? How about that?
Yeah, I mean Jared Verse had 7 sacks versus 23, but he did win Defensive Player of the Year a couple years ago.
Right, but
So he's not a clown by no means.
no, he's not a clown. But these kind of trades are made even when they let this quarterback go to Detroit. What's his name? I always forget his name. Jared Goff. So
Okay.
the Rams do make these trades, and they do it because they do high cap signings, and then they have to make moves to make sure that they have a possibility of being competitive, where a lot of other teams don't have that opportunity, and they don't make those kind of moves.
Yeah.
So kudos to Kroenke and his team for finding a player who was close to a contract in the contract year to not have to overpay if they don't feel like he was going to be a Hall of Fame type of player. Like, is Versa a Hall of Fame type of player?
No, of course not. Now, I don't know yet. He's still very young. He's still
but
trending upward.
And
Myles Garrett's starting to trend. He's going to start to trend downward.
But the difference is they will be able to sell more Garrett jerseys because of what he has done in LA than try to find out if this guy Versa is going to be made a Hall of Famer and then play like one in the next 3 years. Right?
That's a fair point. I mean,
it's a business move. Like,
Myles Garrett's all that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the same thing when this guy Russell Wilson, the same thing. He's a Super Bowl winner. He's going to sell jerseys no matter where he goes. Aaron Rodgers is going to sell jerseys no matter where he goes. Whether or not he's good or not, they're not worried about whether he's going to be good. They're worried about can they get some ROI. Now they're going to get ROI. They solidify the defense. They think with Myles Garrett, as long as he doesn't get injured, right?
Yeah.
So it's a good move for them. And they this is what they do, right? They got an older player in Stafford and let Goff go.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. I mean, they've made a boatload of trades like this in the past. And here's the thing: they've all worked out.
Yeah, they work out for them.
They all work out
because this is a championship type of management team that everything they touch keeps them competitive and keeps them being in the top 5 every year. So
yeah,
that's what we can't argue with that. I mean, and now even the coach, didn't he just get an extension, or he's looking to get an extension? So
you know what? I'm sure. Well, he's under contract. There's been talks that maybe he leaves after this. Maybe they win a Super Bowl and he walks away. I hope they don't do that, because I'd like to see McVay work with Ty Simpson. Colin Cowherd threw another theory out there. This was made out of pure defense to keep the Eagles from getting Garrett, to match him up with the Jalen Carter, which have been impossible to block. So you put him like that. And of course, one of the NFL reporters says, well, the reason why that didn't happen is because they made the trade for the edge rusher there from Minnesota, and they simply did not have the money to add a Myles Garrett type of contract. They've already restructured everybody out.
Right.
So that's the thought behind that. That makes some sense there. I think that a week ago, this story came out about the stadium. I think that has something to do with it. That's a good sales. That's a good PR move to say, listen, we're bringing in one of the best. He's the best defensive player in football right now.
Right now, yeah.
And like I said, if they win, which they are going to be favored to win, I'll probably pick them to win. But if they win, nobody will care about the fact that maybe he's going to fall off in the next 2 years or so. And Versus out there, playing well, and all those picks are now with the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Cleveland side of this, it's hard to say, well, the Cleveland just mailing it in. I had some Browns fans in my car when that story broke. A young woman said Myles Garrett just got traded to the Rams, and I was like, what? And they were upset. It's like they're never going to win. I thought, wait a minute. What'd they get for him? They got Jared Verse, a trending upward player, and they got another pick next year. They had 2 picks this year, okay, first-round picks. They got 2 first round next year, not to mention the players that they've already drafted. This past year, Spencer Fano, first round, very good pick, one of the highest rated tackles at 9. KC Concepcion, the Texas A&M wide receiver. Denzel Boston, second round pick. Emmanuel Michael Warren. They had 2 second-round picks this year, 2 first-round. That's just this year alone, folks. Mason Graham last year, one of the better defensive tackles in the draft, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Quinshawn Junkins, one of the better running backs from Ohio State last year. Okay. Harold Fenton Jr., what a steal he was, that tight end. This tight end they got from Bowling Green. I mean, they've really – and now you've added Jared Verse in there. So it's not like they have a big hole at defensive end. They've added Jared Verse there, a young ascending player, and they've got an extra pick for next year. Only thing they got to do is get the quarterback right. Whether it's going to be Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders, take that next step for them. If they get that this team might mess around and win the Super Bowl because they've been palling young players with the analytics of a guy like Andrew Berry. If that owner can stay out of the way up there, what do you see about their aspect in the future of the Browns right now?
This sounds like a small market team. Like, let's just cut our loss
to the draft. Yeah,
and depend on picking young players, and hopefully, we hit on these young guys. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work for
the Super Bowl champs. Most of that's built off young players.
Yeah, but they're not the Super Bowl champs. They don't got that management team up there. They don't have that man. They don't have that mind there. They don't have that culture there. They don't have that. So. They don't have the weather there. They don't have anything in their favor. The only thing Cleveland has right now is the Cleveland Hall of Fame of Rock. That's it. Like, maybe Cleveland Clinic. Like, look,
you just picked them to win the AFC North, and now you're dogging them out. I had to remind you some of your predictions.
Because what happens is they just got a coach, right? Yeah. They just got a coach in there that's going to give them this mindset to move them forward, and they make this oddball move, right? And what happens is that it's gonna make the defense feel like they're not enough, even if you got a guy to replace them. Like, they got a 1-for-1 plus extra young guys, but now you got the young guys you just got who you're depending on, looking over the shoulder like, next year I might not be here because they're gonna be drafting people, and you don't want that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want your team to be settled. You want your team to have conformity. You want a esprit de corps. You want teamwork. You want to know that you're the man that's gonna be going. You're gonna battle with each other in the trenches. The guy next to me, we're gonna be here 2 to 3 to 4 years. We're gonna do this together. Like, there's a reason why, and I don't like to harken back to the days that the Giants defense ended up winning, helping the Giants team win enough. But that team of defensive players, Strahan, those guys that they had up there,
Obenure,
those guys played together almost 5 to 6 years.
Yeah,
and then that O line played together almost 5 to 7 years. So being together, having time together, that matters. Now, I picked Cleveland, but I'm like, why are you doing this right now? Everything was working in your favor to get the motion, to get the mindset going, and now you started this whole. Am I next out of? Do I have a foot out the door now? Do I want to be in Cleveland? You can't have that mindset with your team set up to move forward. You can't, and so. It's not I tell you what, it's not a bad deal, but it's a small market team deal in the wrong time.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I disagree with that. I just think they should have moved Garrett last year and maybe asked for more.
That's what I'm saying. But it's like, listen, whoever these young guys are, whatever defensive coordinator they got over there, whoever chooses to do what they're supposed to do and get these guys in battle mode, you get focused. You have the team there, like you said, they have enough arsenal to do something. They just got to turn around and take all that and put it on the field and win games now. Like,
yeah, we'll see. Let it play out. You might not see nothing from Cleveland's side of this for another year or two. and let everything gel together. A lot of what Cleveland issue is, can Shedeur play, or can Deshaun Watson get back to his old form this year? Can he get back to form this year? Also, I just mentioned those receivers there. That Harold Fanning guy is very good. He's a very good tight end. You know, they got a very good running back and Quishon Junkins. Now, you got some young offensive linemen there, some unproven guys. That's where they could get killed, or they could I like what they've done. They actually could be better because their other offensive linemen were hurt all the time.
Right.
So I was actually okay with them doing that. So a lot of this is going to be how those offensive linemen gel and how those two quarterbacks play in this system.
Yeah.
Right now, the coach does not like the way they're playing because I think he said Shedeur threw an interception 707 with no pass rush, and he was what's that guy's name? The coach's name there. I had to go back to part 2. What's it? Todd Monken. Yeah, Todd Monken. And he's not satisfied with that, but I think he's a good. I think he's a good coach for this team at this time. You know,
he's going to get you points
better than the other coach. Actually, that's just my opinion. But we'll see.
He's going to get you points. And listen, maybe they pull out a draft in a draft 2 of the most highly rated O-line, and that solidifies their team next season. But they were just. I don't like the whole grabbing at straws and hoping that you get to win this. Like, I feel like that's what they're doing right now, and saving money and trying to save money and not signing long-term deals. Like, what I mean, what I know, man.
Well, the other side of this, we'll see what happens. That's a wait and see. Obviously, the Rams are big favorites now. We'll see how that plays out as well. Of course, if Stafford gets hurt, that could go downhill. So. He's an older player. Anything can happen. A.J. Brown, listen, that feels like a win-win trade for me too. This one wasn't so surprising. We knew that he was going to be traded for a 2027 first-round pick, or 28, excuse me. A.J. Brown traded for 2028 first round and a 2027 fifth round. This is supposed to be a big draft next year. And the Patriots didn't want to give up that 27 first-round pick. I think that the Eagles are doing backflips right now in their locker room. I think he was turning into a cancer there. I'm talking about A.J. Brown. The fact that people were saying they're going to fall off. They got Devontae Smith. They got the first-round pick, Malachi Lemon. They've got Devontae Wicks, he's come over for Green Bay. The new coordinator, he knows exactly what he's working with here. Okay, he comes over from Green Bay as well. You got Goddard coming back, and rookie Eli Sowers there to all work with this Sean Manning without a guy breathing over his shoulder saying, "Get me the ball, coach, get me the ball." I think it's going to be a lot looser there. It's not going to be so intense. And then the flip side, listen, A.J. Brown, man, I saw some stats on him. Josh McDaniels with first-year wide receivers in his offense. And somebody put this out here on ESPN. I think this was on Get Up the other day. Stephon Diggs, first year with Josh McDaniels, 1,000 yards, 4 touchdown receptions. Randy Moss, first year with Josh McDaniels, 23 touchdowns, 1,493. Brandon Marshall, first year with Josh McDaniels, 10 touchdowns, 1,120 yards. Everybody does well, including Devontae Adams, 14 touchdowns, 1,500. You got a guy like Drake May that can get in the ball downfield. He's 29 years old, still got a few years left in the tank. I think this is going to be big. This is going to make them competitive. Not going to say they're going to get back in the Super Bowl, but this is a very good pickup for them. And it's a very good sign of relief. And I think it's going to open the offense even more in Philadelphia because it's not all that pressure to get him the ball even when he's not open. What's your thoughts about this trade?
Yeah, and they got Saquon Barkley that can carry the load there.
Barkley, of course, who could just carry the rock and, nobody's complaining about him getting 25, 30 carries.
Or an extra 5 to 10 catches. Like, listen,
There you go.
He can catch us as well as he can run. I mean, listen, Eagles are in a good situation. I'm not sure if the Patriots put themselves in a good situation with having Brown. No, because the problem is a guy who was coming off and he knows how important he is, and to a younger guy like Drake May, the problem is it's two different mindsets. And Drake May, this could hurt him more than it can help him.
Yeah.
In the sense if they don't communicate well. Like if Drake May allows AJ Brown to get to his head, you're gonna see it, and you're gonna see it early, because that's the kind of he wears his emotion and everything on his shoulder. This quarterback, so which is not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing if you're gonna have somebody like older screaming at you, "Hey, kid, give me the ball. Hey, kid, I'm the money man."
think Vrabel's a good barrier for that?
No,
he'll protect Drake May.
No, I don't think that Vrabel will be as much in a QB room, because he's not that offensive minded type of coach. He's a coach that goes into the QB room saying,
but he pulls players to the side. If the guy's if the guy's upset, I've seen him do that when he was with the Titans with AJ.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he'll put people to the side, but I feel like this is one of the things where he's always going to be missing, is because he's defensive minded, and and he has certain things that he does, and he gets coordinators that are offensive minded, and he has a team for that purpose because he knows that's where he lacks.
Yeah, and
I'm not sure if the people that he's going to have on the side are going to be able to. It's not just about giving the wide receiver the ability to get catches. It's the relationship that he's going to have with his QB, right?
Okay.
One time that Derek May is going to be in trouble and he's going to throw the ball to AJ Brown and he's going to get laid out and get hit, it's going to be the first time that they're going to start losing games, because he's no longer going to respect the quarterback.
Yeah, well,
believe it. It's going to happen. Believe it. So
I think this would be good for about 2 years. These diva receivers, they're good for short stints. I mentioned Randy Moss in that list.
Right.
They're good for very short stints.
Oh, Brandon Marshall.
About 2 years, and then I move off of him, regardless of production, because of the way his personality is, like a Moss, like a Terrell Owens. I wouldn't even have Terrell Owens on my team, but even Antonio Brown. I said this about Antonio Brown. Bring him in for this season, but don't bring him in past that first year with Brady. And you saw how that ended. Yep. He's taking his clothes off and walking off the field and acting a fool. And then he started dogging out Brady, a guy who, really pushed to get him in that particular on that team.
Because he's not like that. Who's that? I forget his name. Who went out to the Chargers, who played on Tampa Bay? What's his name? I can't remember his name. The vet wide receiver.
He used to play for the Chargers?
No, they played for Tampa Bay, but now he's at the Chargers. What's his name?
You sure he's not playing with the 49ers and Mike Evans?
Oh, Mike Evans. Yeah. He ain't like – no, I'm sorry, not the Chargers, but Evans. Yeah. He's not like – but Mike Evans, man, they just go out, catch the ball, make some blocks, and then, just do the job. Like
minds his own business.
Minds his own business. That's right. That's right.
I wish all receivers were like Mike Evans.
Larry
Fitzgerald,
Yeah, exactly. So if Derek May had those two type of mentality,
Drake May.
Oh yeah, if Drake May
who's Derek May? You think about Derek Coleman or somebody.
If Drake May had those type of mindset wide receivers, the Patriots would be better off. But
yeah,
I think this is going to help him a little bit, but it's going to, like you said, maybe 1 or 2 seasons, and then you just cut the ties.
Yeah. It's this will be good. This will be good for fantasy. It will be. It'll be good for fantasy football, man.
Are you picking AJ Brown?
Huh?
Are you going to pick AJ Brown?
Oh yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what, man. Brown's very physical. He's never played with the guy like a Drake May. He played with the guy like Tannehill, who hasn't got another job since he left the Titans, and he's played with the guy who can't hardly see the middle of the field. He has to roll out because of he's so short. May's a typical, prototypical quarterback that can get him the football constantly. The problem is getting him too much where it messes up the offense. And I see Rear coming at there. I think with Josh McDaniels, who's very good at this, I think he's going to be able to handle this situation. He handled Randy Moss, He handled Devontae Adams.
Let me tell you something about Josh McDaniel. He's a tight end heavy coordinator. Like he needs two tight end set, 3 tight end set, and your wide receivers get very little shots down the field.
He coached Wes Welker as well, so I don't necessarily.
You think AJ Brown is like a Wes Welker?
No, I'm saying you said you're throwing all this tight end talk. They had 2 slot receivers in Edelman and Welker that were very successful in that system.
But you're not AJ Brown.
Who's to say you're not going to move AJ Brown to slot because he's getting older and he can get 10 catches a game?
Because AJ Brown don't want to get hit like that. He's not going to go inside like that.
He's a pretty physical guy. I disagree. I think he's.
I feel like if he was that guy, if he was physical like that, and he would do those kind of things, then Philly and the Titans would have never got rid of him.
The Titans got rid of him because they thought of his knee injury is going to be a problem. The Eagles got rid of him because of his reading books on the sideline. And, he's so disinterested in the game. His body language was horrible. He was very T.O. light, not quite as bad as T.O. T.O. got into it with teammates and stuff, but he was getting there. I said they should have moved on him a couple years ago. They're always a year late. I'm always right at the end of the day. I'm just a little bit late on some of my takes here.
I think
about 90%.
I think about from the list that you read, I think you're looking at he's going to get his 1,200 yards. AJ Brown will get 1,200 yards because of his speed, his yak yards, right? And he might get 5 touchdowns plus like 5 to 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But then after that, he's going to be upset because that's not what he wants.
We'll see what happens. He's good for about 2 years, this year, next year, and then you have to have the post move off of AJ Brown plan. I thought it was a great move by the Eagles. They got a first-round pick for him. They paid a first and third. They won 2 Super Bowls with him. It was worth it. Great move. And the Titans, they got the 2 picks, and neither one of those players are on the team there. Anything else that you need to add so we can get off here and watch this NBA final?
No, man. Let's go Knicks. Let's everybody enjoy the finals. Also Stanley Cup's wrapping up as well. Baseball's midway almost, and look, it's a busy time of year. World Cup starts in a few days as well.
Yeah, give me a heads up next week, man, on what do you think about the World Cup and.
Also, I'm going to the
everything. What do you think?
I'm taking my kid to New Orleans again this year for Pokemon, the international tournament.
When is that?
That is the 11th through the 14th
of June.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty close, man. That's pretty close. Is he done with school yet?
No, he doesn't finish school until the 26th. So
wow, man, they keep pushing it back farther every year.
Next year we won't get out to July 4th, bro. That's crazy.
Hey, for real?
No, it's next year the school year starts September 10th. It's crazy.
Yeah, wow, right at football season.
That's
what it was like when we were kids. It seemed like.
Oh my gosh!
I was very young, but the kids here finished 2 weeks ago. I thought they would probably be out this week or next week in your neck of the woods.
No, we because they start late here at New York City Department of Education. They end up coming out closer to July than anything else. So.
Okay, all right. Well, Mad New Yorker, everybody. All right, buddy, I'll see you next Thursday. It's just I had to do this CMA Fest this week. Hopefully you can come on next Thursday. We'll talk about where this finals is. I can't wait to see what the breakdown is after we have 3 games. Appreciate you, Mad New Yorker. All right, everybody, I'll be back here Monday, of course, and talk to everybody. Have that recorded show. We'll break down this as well and any other big stories on the horizon. If you like the show, share the show. If you have not subscribed to the At The Real Sports Scope YouTube channel, At The Real Sports Scope Spotify. You could follow me, Robert Butler, verified on both Facebook and the X account. And of course, you can find me here on the TikTok account at Robert Butler 665 at the real Robert at the Real Sports Scope. You can also find me on TikTok. So have a good night, everybody. Enjoy the game.